I am.
Chairman Skoog is absent this evening. Vice Chairman Anderson.
Here.
Board Member Grossman.
Here.
Board Member Mallory is absent this evening. Board Member Marshall.
Here.
Board Member Nye.
Here.
And Board Member Whiting is absent this evening. We do have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Okay, all matters listed under consent agenda are considered to be routine by the district boards and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. The 41416 CFD. Would anyone like to remove that item from the consent agenda? Or would you like to motion to consider it as the only item?
So moved.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Diane.
Vice Chairman Anderson.
Yes.
And Board Member Grossman.
Yes.
And Board Member Marshall.
Yes.
And Board Member Nye.
Oh, yes.
That's unanimous.
Okay, thank you very much. New business. Item A. Consideration of authorizing the chairman to sign resolution number 35, adopting the tentative budget for East Ridge Community Facilities District for fiscal year 2016-17 and providing notice of a public hearing on July 14th, 2016. Welcome, Bill.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, or Vice Chairman, I'm sorry, and board members. I know you've had a long evening, so I'll make this very brief. I just want to make a few comments about the 7 items that are before you tonight. I'm going to make kind of a general comment about all of them. First of all, you will be approving the tentative budgets for each of the CFDs. Unfortunately, there are separate council action or board actions that you have to go through to approve each of the tentative budgets. There's no way around that, unfortunately. The other item is that we are setting a public hearing date for each of the CFDs on July 14th, as Vice Chairman has stated. After that public hearing, then we will actually go in and actually have a formal approval of the tentative budget that will set the budget for next fiscal year. The other thing I do want to point out is that there are 4 of the CFDs that are ad valorem districts or property tax districts. The board will also be setting the rates for those 4 districts as part of this action. So if there's any discussion regarding the rates, then I can go into the more detail. These budgets were discussed back in the May, I believe, 5th work study. And at that point, there was no changes or no suggestions for any changes to be made to the proposal, to the budgets. We also have up in Larry's office and on our town website, if anyone is interested in looking and reviewing the budgets, that information is available to the public. I think it should be on our website today. I think Lee got it on there today for them. So for your first item for consideration is the East Ridge CFD tentative budget for fiscal year 16-17 in the amount of $142,902. At this point, there's been no problems with this CFD. I wish all of our CFDs could have been like this. This would be great. The other thing I want to point out, we only have 2 more years left. So 16-17, 17-18 should be it for East Ridge, and we'll have the debt paid off. So it's been great. So with that, I'll answer any questions that the board might have regarding the CFD.
Any questions? Anyone?
No, I'll make a motion.
Please do.
Motion to authorize the chairman or in his absence the vice chairman to sign resolution number 35 adopting the tentative budget for East Ridge Community Facilities District for fiscal year 2016-17 and providing notice of a public hearing on July 14, 2016 by voice vote.
Have a motion
I'll second the motion.
and a second. Diane, will you call the vote, please?
Vice Chairman Anderson,
Yes.
Board Member Grossman,
Yes.
Board Member Marshall,
Yes.
Board Member Nye.
Yes.
That's unanimous.
Thank you very much. Item B, consideration of authorizing the chairman to sign resolution number 22, adopting the tentative budget for Parkway Community Facilities District Number 1 for fiscal year 2016-17, and giving notice of a public hearing on July 14th, 2016. Welcome back, Bill.
Thank you. For your consideration is approving a tentative budget for Parkway CFD number 1 for fiscal year 16-17 in the amount of $282,864. Back in May, I came before you and indicated that the assessed value for the district, unfortunately, had gone down again over the previous year. Well, since then, I've received more information, detailed information regarding the district. And the district's decrease is actually attributable to another tax-exempt property parcel going in. So right now we have 3 tax-exempt parcels. If that growth, would have been growth within the district of about 6% if it wasn't for the tax-exempt parcel coming in. So right now we have almost 30% of the assessed value within the district is currently tax-exempt. So as I've stated in previous years, the more tax-exempt districts you have or parcels you have, the more burden it places on the other taxpayers within the district. So with that, right now we are proposing that the tax rate for next fiscal year is $15.04 per $100 of limited assessed value. And that's compared to $17.18 the previous year. So we're actually showing a decrease. And the primary reason for that is that in the revenue section of the budget, you see there's a $50,000 contribution. That can come from many sources. And I don't know if Stephen wants to address, the things that are going on with the school or with, their stepping stones and now a church. But we also have an option if the council chooses to actually transfer or to contribute money from town funds to the CFD. So we do have some money budgeted in the town's budget for this purpose. But our first goal is to try to get some of the nonprofits to contribute toward paying for their fair share of the value of what they've received in the district. So that's why the rate has gone down by 12%. If we did not have the $50,000 in there, the tax rate would go up to $18.40 per $100 of limited value, which again is about a 7% increase over the previous year. So those are the things that we have incorporated into this budget. So I guess I'll just either turn it over. I don't know if Stephen wants to add anything. If not, I'll just answer any questions that the board might have.
Questions, anyone?
Good evening, Vice Mayor and council members. Bill has done an excellent job explaining the financial status of the district. As you well know, there's tax-exempt properties in that district, and currently there is pending enforcement action that's been appealed by myself, and so we're just going to allow that to play out at the appellate level, but I am hoping that will be favorable in that appeal, and it would change the outlook of the district. In the meantime, though, the district has to decide how to move forward. And so I think Bill has laid out a pretty good plan with the town budgeting the $50,000 line item to contribute to the district.
I hardly even know how to verbalize this. I won't go into my frustration, But I do want to say, I feel a lot of responsibility to protect the other Parkway individuals and businesses because they're being victimized. And I'm really upset about that. And I feel helpless for us able to protect them. And I know that we're seeking out every avenue. I understand that we're really stand up and trying to do that. But I just want to express my frustration on behalf of the other businesses there and the burden, the unnecessary burden that can and may be placed on them if we don't solve this. And I know how hard we're working on it, and I'm certainly not condemning any of our staff because it's an unpleasant, and I'm going to say unnecessary situation. And hopefully our appeal will help it out. Just needed to get rid of that.
You know, I would go back to something that Councilman Marshall said earlier this evening. And, you know, it seems to me to be patently unfair to expect everyone in Prescott Valley, by virtue of their part in our budget, to be paying $50,000 towards that tax. It's not their fault either. People that live somewhere else, you know, why should we be paying that tax? And I understand what Councilmember Nye is saying. I share the same feeling that the other people in that district are feeling put upon by this whole thing. And we've struggled with this. This isn't the first time we've done this. We've had it for years. We've been struggling with this issue. And I certainly, like everyone else, hope that we can come to some kind of solution. But it's just a shame that we find ourselves continually in this position where I don't think we have any choice but to take, this is my personal opinion, and I'm only certainly one vote and no more. But I don't see where we have any choice but to use town money to shore that up, because these other people have been paying their share plus for years now. And it seems like the more they pay, the harder they get hit the next year. It just keeps getting worse and worse for them. And that's unfortunate. But I hope everyone understands that we're doing everything we can possibly do right now to correct this situation. And it's not something we're taking lightly. It's not a position we want to be in any more than they do. You know, because the bottom line is that, and I'm trying to be really careful here, the bottom line is that those people who are unwilling or unable to pay their fair share will certainly see benefit at some point, and they're unwilling to acknowledge that. And that's all I have to say about it.
I have an additional comment that I forgot about. I want to honor and thank the other schools that are meeting their obligations. I'm aware of one school thanking us for holding others accountable, but I think it's important for us to acknowledge the fine businesses and schools that do meet their obligation, because I don't want this attitude or this to spread over on those that are carrying their appropriate share. And I just want to commend them for doing that.
I guess I was just, the tentative budget over this process, we are just setting a tentative budget. Once the final board action is taken to take it from tentative budget to final budget in July, that's when the tax rate has to be set. And so it will be that action that will set it. Right now, I believe, and I guess I would have to talk to Ivan or legal at some point to see. So I'm not sure exactly if I should be leaving the money in at this point, or if I should be taking it out at this point, or calculating. We can also say for council's or for the board's approval for a tax rate between $15.04, which is with the $50,000, up to $18.40 without the $50,000. But in July, on July 14th, I would, when I have to send the information into the county, at that point, that tax rate is set, and it'll be set based on the direction of the board on the 14th. So I can give a range if you want also.
Well, I have a particular problem tonight with only half the board being here. I think under the circumstances that this is something that the whole board needs to be involved in. I don't know where that leaves us for tonight's.
What are your
not
deadline
sure.
dates?
Well, it would have to be the 14th, July 14th.
So we have some.
On a public hearing that night, like I have in the previous, 10, 12 years I've been doing this, I come before you and I kind of show you the different assessed values for all the districts, the tax rates. At that point in the board action item, we would have a rate like it is right now at the 1504. Again, you could give me the direction that we would want a rate somewhere to be determined, I guess, at the July 14th work study or at the July 14th public hearing.
Is it possible to pull just this District 1 piece out?
No, we have to have
You have to do it all at the same time.
But it would
All
be a
right.
tentative. We have to adopt it to the process as we have to have a tentative budget approved. And then at that point, I guess I could come back. I mean, I know you don't like hearing this information over and over again, but suppose I could probably come back next week to talk about this.
That's what I was going towards.
At a but that's a work study, isn't it?
Yes.
I think the way it's written, though, it being tentative, I think we can vote on it.
Yeah,
And typically, the tentative budget is just for adopting the budget portion of it. We've always rolled the tax rate in as part of the process to give me the authority to file the necessary paperwork with the county. But that typically isn't, I don't think, absolutely set until the July 14th public hearing.
And I think tonight you're just voting on what the maximum budget can
Budget
be.
would be.
Okay.
So that,
Okay,
you're looking
I'm
at the
comfortable
revenue.
with that.
All right,
You're looking at the revenue sources, and that may change between now and July 14th when we actually adopt the budget. We're just adopting what the maximum expenditure will be,
Okay.
and we can discuss the rates at a later time.
Thank you
Okay,
for that
I can-
assurance.
I can live with that. Okay, thank you.
On that, I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
Motion to authorize the chairman or, in his absence, the vice chairman to sign resolution number 22, adopting the tentative budget for Parkway Community Facilities District number 1 for fiscal year 2016-17 by voice vote.
Have to have
I'll second.
a motion and a second.
Vice Chairman Anderson,
Yes.
Board Member Grossman,
Yes.
Board Member Marshall,
Yes.
and Board Member Nye.
Yes.
It's unanimous, Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, item C, consideration of authorizing the chairman to sign resolution number 37, adopting the tentative budget for Pronghorn Ranch Community Facilities District for fiscal year 2016-17 and giving notice of a public hearing on July 14th, 2016.
I swear the rest of them are going to be really easy. After Parkway, they'll all be really a breeze.
That's good.
The tentative budget for Pronghorn Ranch CFD for fiscal year 16-17 is $606,862. Again, all of our residential CFDs, the assessed value is increased from anywhere from 9 to 14%. So this year, we saw 11.2% increase in pronghorn. We are proposing a tax rate of $2.81 per $100 of secondary assessed value or limited value, how they call it now, compared to $3.12 last year. So actually, this one is because the assessed values did go up, their tax rate's going to go down. At the end of the day, most of the residents probably will not see a huge change in their tax bill. It should go down slightly yet, but it should not be a huge, significant change. One of the other things that is included in my budget in the revenue side is the successor and interest charge. Basically, for every new home that's built out there, there's additional fee. I am budgeting almost $60,000 in new permits. Basically, it's like 32 homes to be built in Pronghorn, and over the past few years, we've actually built more than that. So this is a fairly low number based on our current projections. So with that, I'll answer any questions that the board might have.
Questions, anyone? I'd accept a motion.
Chairman, I'll make a motion. Motion to authorize the chairman or vice chairman to sign resolution number 37 adopting the tentative budget for Pronghorn Ranch CFD for fiscal year 2016-17 and give notice of public hearing on July 14th, 2016 by voice vote.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Diane, can you call the vote, please?
Board Member Nye?
Yes.
Board Member Marshall?
Yes.
Board Member Grossman?
Yes.
And Vice Chairman Anderson.
Yes.
That's unanimous.
Thank you very much. Item D, consideration of authorizing the chairman to sign resolution number 28, adopting the tentative budget for Quailwood Meadows Community Facilities District for fiscal year 2016-17 and giving notice of a public hearing on July 14th, 2016.
The total tentative budget for Quailwood Meadows CFD for 16-17 is $478,580. This district saw an increase of almost 13% over the previous year. So this district, of course, this is one of the districts, I'm sure most of the council members remember, board members remember, was actually took some of the hardest hits too early on. It was 20%, 19% decreases over the years. So they really took a hit. So this year is nice to see it's gone up. Right now we're proposing a tax rate of $3.13 compared to $3.58. So again, it's about a 12% decrease. So we're trying to make sure that the increases and we're going to lower the tax rate so that the tax burden on the property owners should not change very much or should go down slightly is what our hope. We have a few more years. We have a developer out there, Dorn Homes, who makes an annual contribution to us. Basically, this year I'm budgeting over $78,000. We have 2 or 3 years left for contributions from Dorn Homes, and then we'll be done per the agreement. So with that, I'll just answer any questions that the board might have.
Questions or motions?
I'll make a motion. Motion to authorize the chairman or in his absence the vice chairman to sign resolution number 28 adopting the tentative budget for Quailwood Meadows Community Facilities District for fiscal year 2016-17 and giving notice of a public hearing on July 14th, 2016 by voice vote.
I'll second the motion.
Diane,
Vice
call.
Chairman Anderson?
Yes.
Board Member Grossman?
Yes.
Board Member Marshall?
Yes.
And Board Member Nye.
Yes.
That's unanimous.
Thank you. Before we move on, I'm running into a problem here on my numbering. On item D, it talks about resolution number 28. But when we get to item F, it also talks about resolution number 28.
That's correct.
Is that accurate?
That is accurate. Those are two different CFDs.
Thank you. Just to make sure. Didn't want to miss some. Okay. Item E, thank you very much. Consideration of authorizing the chairman to sign resolution number 34, adopting the tentative budget for Raven Ridge Community Facilities District for fiscal year 2016-17 and providing for notice of public hearing on July 14th, 2016. Bill.
Other than East Ridge, this is probably our next simplest or best CFD. The tentative budget for Raven Ridge CFD for fiscal year 16-17 is $15,489. And actually, I just received notice, I think Tuesday, that there was one property owner that had many parcels. And for some reason, he decided not to pay his assessment. So we went to auction, and someone bought the parcels that basically the assessments weren't paid. So then we take the payoff amount and we apply it to the loan. So I just received our new numbers, and our new numbers for going forward, our annual debt service payment for Raven Ridge is just under $8,000. But it's going to be till 2024. It's going to be around for quite a few years yet. But again, we actually had another person today or yesterday notify us that they're buying a parcel up there and they want to pay off their assessment. So we're hoping as this continues, we'll start dwindling this down, but typically there'll be one or two property owners that'll just stay there till the very end. So, but this number, we are setting a higher number at this point. No need to really change it. But the final one next year, when we actually see the expenditures, it's going to be in the $7,000-8,000 range, not the $15,000 that you're approving tonight. So with that, I'll answer any questions.
Hearing none, I would accept a motion.
Motion to authorize the chairman, or in his absence, the vice chairman, to sign resolution number 34, adopting the tentative budget for Raven Ridge Community Facilities District for fiscal year 2016-17, and providing for notice of public hearing on July 14, 2016, by voice vote.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Diane, will you please call the vote?
Board Member Nye,
Yes.
Board Member Grossman,
Yes.
Board Member Marshall,
Yes.
and Vice Chairman Anderson.
Yes.
Thank you. That's unanimous.
Thank you very much. Item F, consideration of authorizing the chairman to sign resolution number 28, adopting the tentative budget for CFD number 1 for fiscal year 2016-17 and providing notice of a public hearing on July 14, 2016.
Now to go on the other end, we have Parkway. Now we also then have Southside, unfortunately. So we have had struggles with Southside. The tentative budget for Southside CFD for fiscal year 16-17 is $200,668. I think all of you are well aware of the situations and the financial difficulties the district or this district has had or is having. So we still have our one property owner that basically has defaulted through a agreement approved by the board and by the council, a couple years ago. Any assessments that are not paid by this property owner, the town basically will advance the money to the CFD. The CFD then pays the assessment on it. We do have a lien filed on this property, so in the event that someone does buy this property, then we can, at that point, we'll get our money back. The town will get the money back. So with that, I'll just answer any other questions that the board might have.
Ready for a motion?
I'll make a motion. Motion to authorize the mayor in his absence, the chairman, or in his absence, the vice chairman, to sign resolution number 28, adopting the tentative budget for Southside Community Facilities District for fiscal year 2016-17, and providing notice of a public hearing on July 14th, 2016, by voice vote.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Diane, would you call the vote, please?
Board Member Nye,
Yes.
Vice Chair Anderson,
Yes.
Board Member Grossman,
Yes.
and Board Member Marshall.
Yes.
Again, that is unanimous.
Thank you very much. Item G, consideration of authorizing the chairman to sign resolution number 38, adopting the tentative budget for Stone Ridge Community Facilities District for fiscal year 2016-17 and providing notice of a public hearing on July 14, 2016. Bill.
Last but not least, the tentative budget for Stone Ridge CFD for fiscal year 16-17 is $866,150. This district assessed value increased by 8.4% over the previous year. We are proposing a tax rate of $2.59 compared to $2.74 last year. So again, the rates continue to go down, and when we entered into a lot of these ad valorem districts, the rate was supposed to be $3.30. So you can see most of them have gone well below that. So with that, I'll answer any questions that the board might have.
Questions?
I will make a motion.
Motion to authorize the chairman, or in his absence, the vice chairman, to sign resolution number 38, adopting the tentative budget for Stone Ridge Community Facilities District for fiscal year 2016-17, and providing notice of public hearing on July 13, 2016 by voice vote.
I'll second the motion.
A motion and a second. Diane, will you call the vote, please?
Vice Chair Anderson,
Yes.
Board Member Grossman,
Yes.
Board Member Marshall,
Yes.
and Board Member Nye.
Yes.
Again, that is unanimous.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Bill, for your time. Item number 5, comments from the public. Consideration and discussion of general unscheduled comments from the public. Those wishing to address district
Yeah.
need not request permission in advance. Any such remarks shall be addressed to the district as a whole and not to any member thereof. Such remarks shall be limited to 5 minutes unless additional time is granted by the chairman. At the conclusion of the unscheduled comments, individual members of the district may respond to the item addressed at the discretion of the chairman, or they may ask the district manager to review the matter or ask that the matter be placed on a future agenda. Seeing no one from the public present, your time is up. Last item on the agenda is adjournment. I would accept a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
And a second.
Third.
Diane, we have a motion and a second. Would you call the
And a third.
vote, please?
Vice Chair Anderson,
Yes.
Board Member Grossman,
Yes.
Board Member Marshall,
Yes.
and Board Member Nye.
Yes.
That is unanimous, Vice Chair.
Thank you, and thank you, everyone, for tonight.